Joining us now, Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, along with former U.S. Secretary of Education under President Obama, John King. Good to have you both. I'll start with Secretary King on what is the safest plan to reopen schools, and can we get everybody on the same page on this?
Well, we're certainly making progress. Getting all teachers and school staff vaccinated is an important first step so that they can feel safe at school. We've got to have good COVID testing in place in schools to make sure we identify cases where they occur. And the CDC has put out clear guidance now to help schools figure out how to do masking and physical distancing and other procedures in the school building to keep things operating safely. So I'm hopeful that President Biden's goal will be accomplished relatively quickly this spring.
So, Senator Coons, we had Anthony Fauci on the show a few weeks ago, and he said he agreed with the CDC guidelines. And his quote was, "It was less likely for a child to get infected in school than if they were in the community." How important is it not only for Joe Biden to do everything he can to make it possible to get kids back in school within his first 100 days, but also to apply pressure on school districts that may be dragging their feet across the country?
Joe, it's really important to get kids back in school. That's why the dramatic investment in reopening K-12 schools safely that's in the American Rescue Plan is such a big deal. There's $170 billion in resources that'll help schools purchase more PPE, implement those CDC recommendations about how to reopen safely, and a supply of vaccines to make sure that educators, paraprofessionals, support staff are all vaccinated. Everyone I work with who's a parent of school-age kids is eager for their children to go back to school. And so many kids have lost up to a year of learning as a result. As we all know, it's hard enough to work by Zoom, but to learn by Zoom as a young person, to miss all that socialization, all the different ways that young people engage in learning and growing in school, that's a real loss. That's why John King and I are working together to support an expansion of AmeriCorps that would provide more staffing and more resources to help safely reopen schools and help address learning loss.
Secretary King, it's Willie Geist. Good to see you this morning. I'll let you fill in some of the details on that proposed expansion of AmeriCorps. But I'm curious about your concerns over what we've seen the last year or so among young students. And there are, even for people who have access to Wi-Fi and laptops, it's been tough. And you think about all the students who don't have that access or who've been lost to the system, haven't even checked in with their school for the last year. And you think about what that means for their entire lives, what's happened over the last year. What are your concerns, both from an education standpoint, but from a mental health standpoint and from a social standpoint, about kids missing all this time in a classroom?
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, this period of COVID-19 has been an equity disaster in schools. Low-income students of color were less likely to have internet access, less likely to have devices. We have studies suggesting that there may be 3 million students who are disconnected from school. We have districts where a significant number of students haven't logged in since last March. We have a study from McKinsey that suggests 6 to 12 months of lost learning for low-income students and students of color. We have districts like mine, Montgomery County, Maryland, where the failure rate in freshman English went up 6-fold. We have a new study out in Boston that showed that for 11th and 12th graders, 40% of them are chronically absent, missing a ton of school. So we've got a lot of work to do to address that. And then we've got the socio-emotional and mental health impact of being disconnected from relationships with teachers and peers. So what AmeriCorps will make possible, what this $1 billion investment in AmeriCorps will make possible, is to launch a national tutoring corps to connect young people with mentors who can help them make up ground academically, but also build powerful relationships that will help them feel reconnected to school.
So, Senator Coons, this is inside the COVID relief package. The $1 billion is there. So what happens from here? What do you want people to know who may want to get involved in AmeriCorps and step in to help fill this void that we've seen over the last year?
Well, Willie, 3 things. One important piece of this is that the $1 billion out of this whole American Rescue Plan is also to improve the accessibility of AmeriCorps so that people of all backgrounds can serve. It increases the living stipend. It increases the education award. It invests more in outreach so that there is a more diverse cadre of young people joining AmeriCorps to be tutors in our schools. It also means there's going to be an expanded number of AmeriCorps positions. Year after year, 4 or 5 times as many young people apply to serve our nation through AmeriCorps as there are slots available for them to do so. So there's going to be more opportunities to serve. And looking forward, given President Biden's announcement of his intention to create a climate conservation corps, it's my hope that we'll continue to expand AmeriCorps so that it can meet unmet needs in housing, in hunger, in conservation, and in education. This is something I've already talked to Dr. Miguel Cardona, the new Secretary of Education, about, and I have a lot of colleagues supporting this in the Senate. Senator Booker has been really leading on creating a specific tutoring corps, and Senator Reid just held a hearing in the Armed Services Committee about the importance of national service. He and Senator Duckworth, both veterans, have been real champions of national service, and this has been bipartisan. As you know, in the last Congress, Senator Wicker and I had 16 senators, 8 from each party, join in supporting a bill to significantly expand AmeriCorps as an opportunity for young Americans. So anyone who's interested in a year of service to our country across a wide range of opportunities should be logging in to the AmeriCorps website and expressing their interest. Those programs should be expanding soon.
Senator Chris Coons and former Education Secretary John King, thank you both for coming on the show this morning. A monumental task. We appreciate it ahead for both of you.